we wanted to give you guys a little bit. What the hell is that?
I don't know.
You're okay, Coolio. By the way, too soon.
Scary.
But we wanted to tell you guys a little bit more about the prenup. Don't want to rush through it. So this is sort of a part 2, which details a little bit more about what was involved in our prenup. So when doing our prenup, we essentially took each of our assets, bank accounts, cars, life insurance, all the different things that we each individually had.
Right.
And we listed them at the net value at that time and point before we signed the prenup, right? So personal bank accounts, which we count as assets, any, gifts that you might have, gold or different things that might be worth something.
Right.
And then the debts, student loan debts, credit card debts, all that, we essentially took an Excel spreadsheet and we wrote them all down. And you keep adjusting the amount based on whenever you go to sign. Some people like to use approximately, other people like to list the amount on the day that they sign. So we listed that down, and then we both got separate lawyers. We wanted to use the same lawyer, but we were told, don't use. The other thing you want to be careful about is getting a lawyer. Some lawyers will charge you OD. I have a friend whose lawyer was trying to charge him $5,000 to do a prenup. $5,000. Shouldn't be that much, especially if you have all your assets and your debts and what you want in the prenup done. So we had to put child support in because that was a law of the state that we got married in, so the state of New York.
Right.
We didn't put in any alimony. We didn't want that. We took that out straight away and said, look, you'll be able to fend for yourself. I'll be able to fend for myself. That's what that is. So we put those clauses in there. It actually got to the point that the lawyers were asking us, are you sure you guys don't want this? And we said no.
Like, for example, my lawyer was more so like, okay, well, how much have you put into the house, like right now? Because we can do this. And I'm like, don't want it. Like, yeah, but you've put this, I'm like, and there's no disrespect to my lawyer. She's looking out for me. But how I look at it is my purpose for the prenup was just, hey, if me and you were to split, we split what we have together.
Right.
And you take care, half the responsibility for the children. I'll take care of my other half. And we just try to be as cordial as possible. That was my thing. I did not want, like she was telling me, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should look into that. That's not what I want. Because at the end of the day, how I feel, and I don't know how you feel, but I just felt like, why would I want something, like, I didn't.
It serves as a grounds and a guidance to sort of make, if you ever get into that position, those things are at least handled. There's no discovery. There's nothing that, and the only people that can really understand that are people that either work in the field or people that have gone through it, right? So we listed all those. We put a time limit in. We set that, and once the time limit expires, it expires. At that point, everything's all together, and we figure it out. And I think that piece, that time limit piece, is the one thing. And I will say, I didn't know. So if you want to talk about stigmatism and stereotypes, I actually didn't know that could exist.
Really?
And the only way I found that out was through doing more research.
Wow.
Right? So you think about it.
I thought it was the whole entire marriage.
I never knew that could happen. So you want to make sure you contact your lawyers. You want to make sure that you put in what you want, not the lawyer telling you what you want, right? This is for you and your significant other. You two should have the discussion about what's involved. And, from our perspective, we were comfortable doing a time limit. Now, after that time limit, everything is blended. By the grace of God, we never have to look at it.
Right.
But if something were to happen, we're comfortable enough to know that we've set ourselves up to succeed and essentially not be in a disgruntled, long, drawn-out situation. Because what you have to remember is, in those drawn-out situations, you're paying legal fees. Right? And that's all part of it. So we ask people to research. The biggest thing we're asking all our listeners, all our watchers to do is research, understand it, and most importantly, have the conversation.
Yes.
Do not be afraid to have the conversation. It's the same thing. Would you have a financial conversation with somebody you're planning on spending the rest of your life with? We would hope you would, right? Understand the person's credit and what their spending habits.
That's the biggest part. Like, you get a prenup because it's not even about what you have, what you don't have. What if that person has like $100,000 in debt? Guess what? When you guys are married,
That
your
becomes
debt
yours.
is your debt. And guess what?
And that's a big part. That's the other angle of looking at it. Let's say you're both equally successful, but one person has a larger debt than the other. Is it really fair to be burdened with that person's debt?
Right.
And that's the way you want to look
at it. Or that
it.
person divorces you, but they're like, yeah, but he's divorcing you, but you got to take half the debt.
Right. And I will tell you from personal experience, I've seen that where somebody that's close to me has had to be responsible for over $100,000 of the person that they divorce's credit card debt, and it's never a fun time. So we just wanted to take this part to break it down, give you a little bit of insight what was involved. This is clearly a 2-part video. It's a longer conversation, and we hope in the future as we bring couples in, we can have more of a conversation about this and just continue to educate people. The most important thing, talk to your significant other about it. Put in what you want. Do your own research. And most especially, communicate right from the beginning if it's what one person wants or both of you want or you don't want it.
But it has to be a compromise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's us. That's it for Marriage Exposed, episode 4. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Yeah, baby. Ow, ow.